Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Big news tonight. My website is finally online. My website is finally online. So what kind of website have I made? And why? Why at all? And what kind of criteria did I have for and what kind of thoughts did I have for my website? My website had to be useful. So that was important for me. I wanted a website that had my beautiful face on it, which is right here. I wanted to have something with some cartoons also. This is just some any gifts that I placed on. Then I wanted it to be easy to administrate. That is why we have the admin interface right there. If you want to help me out, then the username and password is both Mike right now for the admin interface. So that's quite easy. But I wanted something that is useful, and right here, if I press the data format, then I can base64 encode something. If I write Mike right here, then I get the base64 encode version right here. Then I can copy that quite easily, and of course I can paste it down here, and then I can decode the same value and get the same value out again. So that's just because sometimes I need to base64 encode something. So I just wanted a base6. There was just something that popped into my mind, and I wanted this base64 encoder right here. I've created my webpage in React.js. There's no backend right now at all. I might add a backend at some point, and I've created. It is not any look and feel that you can download somewhere. I've created my own my own CSS, my own styles. Maybe you can see that. But I had, of course, as you can see right here, I had a lot of fun making it, and that is actually why I made it. It has to be fun when it's a hobby, right? So. Yeah, here it's possible to convert some data. So let's say that I create something in JSON. Let us say that I have some JSON right here. Start and begin. Then maybe I have, let me zoom in a little bit right here. Then I have some JSON, and you have to use double quotes right here. Then I have some name. This is the name of the space pilot, and in this situation right here is Mike. And maybe we could have something like fuel left of the spaceship, right? And here we have 88% like this. So like this. Yeah, let me just check right here. And we want to convert to, this should be okay, right? This is actually JSON. What does it say? Fail to execute a dependent on node, only one element. Yeah. That's because when we want to convert to XML, then we need to have one node. So that means that we need to have something like, we have to have a wrapper for all of it, because we want to convert it to XML. So I want to have something like a spaceship. And then we say that spaceship is this object right here. Mike and fuel left. And now it actually works. The reason, the red line underneath is there's no code completion actually, and there's no you're not getting any help from the colors at all. You're supposed to have your JSON already. Then you copy your JSON or your YAML or your XML, and then you paste it in this side right here, and then you get the result on the right side right here. So here we get this is the XML value right here. Then I can copy it to clipboard by pressing this button right here. If I click again, and then it'll just say that it's copied to clipboard again. You can also, of course, convert JSON to JSON, but of course it does not make that much sense. You can convert it to YAML instead. Then we have the YAML, then we have the spaceship as on the top level, and then we have the fuel left. And of course, we should not have to, if it's a number, then of course it's okay not to have that in double quotes like that. And so we have the XML right there, XML, YAML, JSON. Yeah, so that's quite cool, right? And of course we can also convert the other way. So that means that if we have some XML, and then we want to convert that to JSON, of course it also goes the other way around like this. When we convert back again, everything will actually be double quoted, just so you know that. But that is what I mean with it. It needs to make sense. It needs to be useful, right? That's what I that's what I wanted with my page right here. And then another thing I have something is with security. I think there's a lot of time where we have to create a basic authentication header. So right now I'll write Mike and Mike right here, and then I get my basic authentication header right here that I can use for my HTTP requests. So again, this is quite useful, which is quite important for my page. Of course, I can clear all by pressing this button right here. I could also copy it to clipboard by pressing this button right here. I can also go and look at some Docker recipes. I think it's almost the same. There's a lot of copy pastes especially when you're dealing with Docker. So this is how to easily create a Docker multi-stage build. So first of all, we actually build our application with Node. This will actually be useful for both Vue, Angular, and React application. You can use this recipe right here, and then you have to run it from, in this situation, I'm running it from Engin. Of course, you can just choose to run it from any other any other web server. The cool thing about using Engin is that you also have possibility to use micro caching and all the cool features of from Engin. Backend multi-stage build. So that is how you would usually, if you want to create a Spring Boot backend, then you will build your backend with this part right here. So here you will actually compile your code and pack it into a nice jar ball, and then you get this, then you get that jar file, and after that, then you can put it into the runner, which is this part right here. So this is a backend multi-stage build that can be used for. They can be used for Spring Boot application. It can also be used for Ktor backends. Everything with Java, all Java backends can be used with this Docker multi-stage build right here. Also Micronaut, if you would like Micronaut, of course it's the same right there. Then I have something that I use for my CI server, because every time I write some code and I push it to my Git repository, then automatically the code is actually being distributed, and the way that I do that is by I use Helm, and I use Kubernetes, kubectl, the kubectl, and this all of this I'm actually placing in here. I'm creating my run. This is my run.shell script right here. I save Helm upgrade as then the release name, and then I say go and deploy the code from here, and then deploy to whatever namespace I want to, and then minus install. That means that if it hasn't been installed yet, then please install it, and then I put that into my run shell script right there, and then I change the modifier so it's executable, and that means that whenever I start this Docker image right here, when I write run, then it will actually just deploy my application with the image that I need to be deployed. And there's another thing right here. This is my kubeconfig.txt. So that means that you actually the Kubernetes configuration, the security is actually being copied inside right here. You could also have ran the login part where you actually log into your Kubernetes cluster instead dynamically. That's also totally okay to do that, and then you could have passed on your API key to your Docker image with environment variables. That's another way of doing it. So yeah, that was another recipe. Then I have my YouTube. This is my YouTube channel. Just a bit of go look at that if you feel like it. And then just one image, one video right here about test containers and Kafka. But the big thing right here is go visit the awesome channel right here. And then we have my game reviews right here. So if you If you didn't watch the videos regarding these games right here, then do that. There are some of the videos that haven't been released yet. I think Doom 2 will be released this weekend. They're scheduled because I make multiple videos in one day, and then I schedule them into the future. Doom 2, I think that would be this weekend actually, or coming weekend, and then Doom 3 is next weekend again, and Doom 2016 is next weekend again. I have two grades when I grade when I review the games. Either they are Play Into the Night, or either they are shite, and there are two different symbols for that, as you can see right there. So that is my game review page. If you have any other ideas to what I should add to this page right here, then let me know. It is quite cheap in resources because all of this is actually JavaScript. There's no backend right now. I saw actually there are a lot of other pages that actually convert data to different formats. Most of them actually use a backend, and two problems with that. One problem with that is that it actually takes, whenever you expose something so that people can use from a backend, then you actually it takes some system resources, right? So that means that it will actually cost you something at some point, because you have to pay for the resources. You have to pay for the server that it runs on. So that is the first problem. The other problem is that when you send something to a server, then the person that actually uses this cannot trust that you don't send this information, this data, and store it somewhere. If you look, if you go look in, if you press F12, there's some errors. I should that's actually okay. That's because when you have, if there's any parsing error with the format right here, then of course it will come out in the console right here. But here you can actually, if you go look at network, then you can actually go see what actually happens whenever you are typing stuff right here. You can see nothing is being sent to my backend. At least I'm using Google Analytics, just so you know that. But the Google Analytics should not take the data as far as I can read in documentation and also see in the API calls. I don't know what it will do in the future, of course, but it's just standard Google Analytics. I just added the one-liner that you can add to your webpage, and then Google Analytics will count the number of users and hits on your page and all that. And it's just to get a kind of a feeling on how many users my page, so I know when to. How careful I should be when I update and create new versions and stuff like that. So that is my page, and as I said before, as soon as I push the code to GitHub, then the code will go in. The code is actually being deployed on my Kubernetes cluster, and I'll show you how to do that actually with the GitHub actions. It's quite simple when you know how to do it, and it's quite cool, and it's awesome what they've made actually. I think that in the future you will not have a separate CI system. You would just have you would use the same CI system as where your code is actually located. So that means if you're placing your code in Bitbucket, you will probably use the the Bamboo system. If your code is at GitHub, then you would use the GitHub actions to deploy and to run your CI pipeline. You would not. You don't have to use an external system like Jenkins or like Circle CI or whatever all of the cool names are for all of those cool tools. Those tools are very cool, and they can do a lot of things. But I can just see that it's so easy to actually maintain and have a pipeline in a Docker image, and then place that as close as possible to the code, because then you don't have to worry about actually getting the code out. The code is just there, right? So then you just have to worry about connecting to your to Docker registry, and you have to worry about how to connect to your Kubernetes cluster, and then you have to worry about running actually the deploys, the build and the deploy scripts, right? And as I told you before, here we have all of the build scripts, so it's not that big of a problem. And then of course you have to create your deploy script with, for instance, with Helm or with your Kubernetes YAML files. So it's awesome. It's cool. It's let me know if you have some ideas for my page, and if there's something that I should be mindful of, or if there's something I should do. I have a cookie. There's something that I cannot show because I actually have this plugin right here that says I don't care about cookies. So we actually skipped the first cookie. I'm using cookie view. That's the first view you will actually see. That is it okay that I'm using cookies? The reason why I say that is because. It's because I don't want to limit myself. If I want to store some data locally to make a view being a view to be better, or a view to be more user friendly, then of course I want to use cookies. I want to store data locally. That is one situation. Another thing is that I use that Google Analytics, and I don't know how much actually it stores. So that's why I have that. That's why I have that. That cookie view right there. If you have something that is better, that you think that's better than Google Analytics, then that's a bit more, maybe it's a bit more privacy friendly, then let me know. But yeah, this is my webpage. I'm very happy. It's been a long time. I wanted to have a webpage for many years, but I just never had the time to actually build it and to play around and fiddle with the with the page. But I found time now, so I'm actually quite happy with myself. also concerning my webpage now, so it's quite awesome, and I'll probably figure out something else to add right here. So now that this is just this is the beginning, right? So thank you very much for watching, and have a great evening, and thank you very much for commenting to all of those of you who are commenting. Hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.